All right, guys, we are going to do a reaction video, a different one. This is going to be for a punk song. I got to be upfront with you guys. I was never a big punk fan. Okay, the school I come from is either you're into metal or you're into punk, and I've always been drawn to more virtuoso type playing. And I get it about punk. It's more, instead of about the technique, it was just more of the attitude behind it. And I get it. But it was never quite my thing, but we're just going to give it a shot here. We're going to do a live version of the Sex Pistols, God Save the Queen from 1978. Okay, let's check it out. My friends, those of you that watch my channel, have an expectation of honesty from me. I always try to be polite. And I'm not going to give up on punk quite yet. But I'm going to be honest, I don't get it. I understand some of the metal bands that I really like. There is a bit of punk influence in that. Sid Vicious was a bass player. Looked like Sid Vicious to me. Wasn't a fan of his bass playing. It was pretty sloppy. But again, I understand it's not about... They're kind of against the antithesis of technique and all that stuff. I get it. I get all that, but I'm just listening to it going, I don't get it. Sid Vicious, I'd like to know a little bit more about him. I didn't get it when I was younger. I remember the movie Sid and Nancy. I don't know what the big deal was about the guy. It certainly wasn't his bass playing. Maybe it was his attitude. You know, from what I know about the guy, and not that I can pass judgment, but he did a lot of things that weren't cool. So I just don't know what, like certain music people, certain celebrities from music, who have talent and leave a legacy and they write amazing songs and, I get it, when they die and they make a movie about them or something, but like, I just don't get it about, and I'm not trying to be mean and I'm trying to be polite. I've never been a big fan of punk. There's some bands that have elements of punk. A band that I think's all right? L7. I dug some of their, now they had a bit of metal in their sound too, but I just, Sex Pistols, are probably universally known as one of the more popular punk bands. I never got it. I never got listening to them in the 80s. I never listened to them in the 90s. I just don't get it. And I'm really sorry. I feel like bad. I've disappointed everyone. I don't get it. And I don't get it about Sid Vicious. He wasn't a great bass player, that's for sure. And I get it. It's not about technique. It's about the attitude. But what I would appreciate, instead of, one of the things I take pride in with this channel is instead of getting it, the comment section turning into a lot of just rot that happens to a lot of channels, it's positive. It's conducive. Like I'll say to people, I don't understand who's this person, and people will fill me in. So about punk, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's not something I would listen to. Just explain to me. Fill me in. Okay, we did a thing about Machine Gun Kelly a few weeks ago. I don't get it. Why was the guy so popular? Why was he on Howard Stern? And I had some people, instead of, just being like, hey, you're dumb, you're old, and you don't get it, blah, blah, blah. I get it when it comes to music. I don't get it with punk music. I know it's had to do with the attitude. I don't get it about Sid Vicious. I didn't find any of them to be particularly proficient on their instruments. I didn't like the song. I didn't like the singing. The bass playing was really not that great. But at the same time, I'm trying to be open-minded. I'm trying to be positive. So for those of you that do get punk and are punk fans, just explain to me. Just lay it out to me, saying, hey, this is what it's about. And please explain to me about Sid Vicious. What did he do to deserve a movie made about him? He did a lot of things that weren't cool. I don't see why he should be put up on a pedestal in any way. I don't get it. I'm missing something. Well, hello, friends. That is not all. Unlike other reaction channels, I thought, there's something I'm missing here. I'm looking at it from pretty much strictly a musical perspective. It was a pretty negative reaction. So I talked to two really good friends of mine from the United Kingdom who are music enthusiasts and know more about punk than I do. So I got some education about it. Here's part of that live discussion. And I'm going to give the Sex Pistols another chance. And, or I'm going to give them another try, so to speak, and do another video of them down the road. I'm going to learn a little bit more about them. You know what I'm saying? Well, I have two guys from the UK here. I got to talk to you guys about this. So I made reference to it, but now that I have both of you here, it's good that we can talk about this. I don't like punk music. I really tried with the Sex Pistols and God Save the Queen. It was a live performance. Sid Vicious was on bass. So you guys are from the United Kingdom. I don't get it. Like from a musical perspective, to me, it's awful. Like people could say, well, you like thrash metal and this and that. Yeah, but like they're good guitar players. They have great guitar tones. They've got good lead players. They have, they're really tight with their timing. Like I just this punk stuff, I can't do it. I just never been able to. Now I'm starting to wonder, is there something wrong with me? Because I'm open-minded.
I think the Solitary Adventure's a little bit on the young side for understanding the punk, And in all fairness, it was probably coming towards the end of it really for me when I was getting into music. But I think it's more of a social thing. Just the times in the 70s, the way that society was. It was just a bit of a snapback at society.
Yeah.
I mean, Johnny Rotten's been consistent all the way through his career, from being a young kid to now being an old man. He's he's always spoke the truth. He's never sugarcoated anything, and he's always said what's on his mind without a filter. And to be fair, I've always respected him for that, because he's got a lot of social comment. You know, some of the things that have happened in the public eye with certain public figures, Johnny Rotten was talking about many decades before it came out in public, and everybody's acting like they didn't know about it. But Johnny Rotten was speaking his mind then. So I think it was more an attitude than anything else. The music's, it's an acquired taste. It's like thrash metal, you know, it's like death metal. It's an acquired taste. If it's your thing, it's your thing.
Yeah.
But in terms of the Sex Pistols weren't really musicians as such in my eyes. They were more of an icon. Whereas when you go to somebody like the Clash, you know, the Clash has got a real good back catalogue. There's some good music there.
Yeah.
The Stranglers, I mean, you could argue that the Stranglers isn't really punk, but you know, it was from that era, and that's the music was quite different than what you look at when you look at the Sex Pistols, but it's still punk, really. It's still punk.
Like I guess, and there's two different schools. If you look at the thrash metal, punk, hardcore audiences in the States, there was a real division. Like if you were a metal guy with long hair, you did not go to a punk hardcore show, and if you were a punk hardcore guy with a shaved head, you did not go to a metal show. Like there's, so I don't know. And this other thing I wanted to ask you guys about is about Sid Vicious. But this is good because I'm learning, right? And I knew punk, there's an attitude, and I knew maybe because some of the economic situations in England in the 70s might have had something to do with why they're so pissed off. But Sid Vicious, like there's folklore about him. They did a movie about him with Gary Oldman played him. I'm looking at it like, dude's not a good bass player, and he was not a good person. What's the deal? What's going on here? I don't get it. I'm missing something here.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's just the mythology behind it. I think it's just you know what, in a very conservative Britain that was had a very big split monetary wise in society. It was something that was always going to something's going to boil over, and when something boils over and they express themselves in music, that's what the punk sort of thing came for, in my eyes anyway.
Do you know the thought that's just come to my mind, Mark, is it's not too dissimilar to the situation we're in now, right? People are ready to hit the streets, you know, for economic reasons.
Yeah,
but there's no music.
It's a complete disillusion with your government. It's a complete disillusion with your government, and a lack of trust, and a lack of respect for the leaders. You know. Yeah. And
do you think
as that grows, and you know, through the last couple of years, what everybody's been through, I think it's just getting to that stage where people have had enough.
Well, the thought that hit me is, since, you know, the 1950s, people were able to use music to actually put that into words and reach other people. We don't have that now. Like, is Ariana Grande going to come out with a song where she speaks out against Trump? You know, it's like there isn't anyone, you know.
So if you guys could fill me in and let me know, that'd be greatly appreciated. Remember, practice hard, but practice smart. We'll see you soon.